We're running in a race.
Michael!
Easy come, easy go. You're an unfading star. A gentle love, the kind that lifts you up, no matter how far apart. I guess you could call it chance, but we know it's
I want
more.
to. Alright, you guys have been wanting a race recap. Here is my Bear 100 race recap with my little cheat sheet, kind of ish. So, let's back this up a little bit. In 2023, I was supposed to run the Bear. I was supposed to run Squaw Peak that year, 50, and also the Bear 100. By May, I had plantar fasciitis really bad. I had to kind of ask myself, good, better, or best? Is this the best thing that I can be doing with my time? Or should I refocus my time? And so I dropped out of Squaw Peak 50 because I just didn't feel like it was the best thing that I should be doing. And then in the same boat, right around the same time, like a couple weeks later, I dropped out of Bear 100. I just didn't feel like it was the right thing. It wasn't the right time. I was running away from my problems versus facing my problems. And I was getting really agitated and irritated with having to run so much that it was putting a negative context with myself and with my kids and with my family, and it just didn't work out. And so I backed out of all my races in 2023. 2024, I decided to do a bodybuilding competition. I was turning 40, so I did that. Crushed it, loved it. It was such a great experience. Did 2 shows. And so the 100 has always been on the back of my mind of what if? Could I complete this? Could I do this? And I knew I wanted to do Squaw Peak 50 as my training run in order to get me to the Bear 100. So that's kind of a back recap of where we were. In December of last year, I signed up for Bear 100. It sold out in 8 minutes. I think that's like a record time that it has ever sold out, which is incredible. I think there was close to 350 people who had signed up for the race, which is amazing. Started in December, trained December, January, February, March. My body kind of freaked out with the time change. Kind of took a little step back, but I still was training a ton. And then April, May, June came, the 50 came and went, did it. Didn't do as well as I was hoping, but that's okay. That's for another story. But I completed it, and I did most of the race by myself, which was really good training for the Bear 100. And then June came and went. July came and went. If you've ever trained in the summertime with having kids, it is it's just impossible, and it's really hard because it's busy. It's the summertime. Your kids want to go play. They want to stay up late because the sun is out. And then getting up early is really hard. I'll be honest. Training was really, really hard. And there were some days I just did not want to get up and go. And so I tried to listen to my body. I'm also a massage therapist, and so I'm doing deep tissue work on people 10 to 25 hours a week. And so trying to listen to my body of training, plus being a mom, a wife, a business owner, and training for this race. I keep telling people, I'm like, being a mediocre runner is a lot of work. It is so much work, and I don't know how people do it at an elite level. Hands down, my hat goes off to you. I don't know how you're doing it. Maybe you're taking some kind of special stuff. Send it to me because I need it. I struggled. Fast forward, August, the kids went back to school. Training kind of amped up. And then it was September, and then we started, what's it called? Oh my gosh, tapering. We started tapering. So I had my last long run with my daughter and my husband and my son, and we hiked Timp, and then that was it. And then I tapered for the last 2 weeks. And that was challenging. I got in my head a lot with the taper. I've never had to taper for anything, and so that was really weird for me. I kind of forced myself to taper at Squaw Peak because I was having Achilles issues, and so I just forced myself to taper. And with Bear, I was still having blister issues, and I was trying and watching every video under the sun and trying to figure out how to eliminate or minimize my blister issues, because on Squaw Peak they were horrendous. From mile 31 on, my whole entire heel on both sides were blisters. Under the ball of my foot was a blister. Everywhere was just a blister. I just didn't know what to do. And so for going into Bear, I changed my socks. I changed my shoes. I changed my whole regimen. I taped my feet. I used every type of lube that you could even imagine and think of. And I don't know. I guess my feet are just super weird. So that's that. So heading into the taper, it was okay. It was great. The week before the race, I struggled mentally. I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and so I asked my husband to give me a priesthood blessing. Actually, a couple of them, because on Wednesday night I thought I was getting sick, and I was like, I can't get sick. I was like, I can't have a cough, I can't have a cold, I can't have any of these things, because I've prepared for this race for so long. I can't have any obstacles in my way. So he gave me a blessing, but my anxiety was through the roof Thursday morning. I went and got my hair braided. I didn't love it, so I took it out. Went and got myself a green smoothie, which I absolutely love. Spilled it all over the kitchen floor. Like, it was a mess on Thursday. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? This is like a disaster from out of nowhere. And so we left Thursday, had to drive 2 hours up to Logan, got our packet, got excited. Everything was going well. We got to the hotel and we went to bed at 9. Like, I prepped and wrapped my feet for a really long time. And why is this doing that? Okay. Thank you. It's telling me my battery's gonna die. And so I wrapped my feet super duper well. Like, spent an hour wrapping them. And then we went to bed, and I could not sleep that night. I was just, my heart was racing. It was pounding. Every thought of, like, did I do this enough? Did I prepare enough? Did I get everything ready for Jason? Is my crew going to be there? Like, is everything going to line up just fine? I could not sleep. I'm sure I did for maybe a little bit. The alarm went off at 4, and we were up and ready to go. We showed up to the race site, and it started to rain. I was like, okay, it's raining on race day, and there was not supposed to be any rain in sight whatsoever. And it ended up being a really huge blessing that it rained, because it knocked down the dust on the trail in the beginning, and it created a cloud coverage. So I was super grateful. So I'm like, whoever prayed for rain, thank you very much. It totally helped. I was running the race with my friend Josie, and we started the race. And of course, when you go into a race, you always plan to possibly stay together. You never know how that's going to go. We had anticipated to stay together, but I knew she was a faster runner than myself. I am a much better climber, and she is in the running field, and I can climb a mountain like nobody's business. I just don't like to run. Oddly enough, I hate running, and here I am doing 100 miles. Like, why? And so we started the race together, and we ran the first half mile, and then it starts up a hill, and we were like, we should walk. This is great. This is a great time to walk. So we walked. Or like hiked. You're just like power hiking, you know? And it's just a single track all the way up. And the first bit of the race is, in that first 10 miles, you're gaining 5,100 feet of elevation gain. If you've ever climbed Timpanogos, Mount Timpanogos here in Utah, it's about the same elevation, but you have 3 more miles on top of that. And it's a steady, steady climb. And so we're climbing. People are passing us left and right, and it's like, great, go past us. I don't care. And I just had to get in my head. It was like, you're running your race. You're not running anybody else's race. This is your race. Just focus on you. Don't focus on what anybody else is doing. Just focus on fueling and hydrating and just staying steady. And so that was my goal the first 10 miles, was just stay steady. We got to the first aid station. at Logan Peak, and I was like, okay, first aid station down. This was my plan. I was like, aid station to aid station. If I just break it down every 8 to 10 miles, that will break it down for me, and then I don't see the whole big picture of 100 miles because that's so overwhelming. And so I was like, I knew if I could just break it down to every 8 to 10 miles, I could do that. I can run 8 to 10 miles every day. That's fine. So we get to Logan Peak, 10 and a half, refill the water, and just get going. And we climbed a little bit there, but then it was mostly downhill into Lethem Hollow. And from there, Josie was ahead of me, and I was watching my watch and just kind of keeping track of my pace. And I was trying to keep like a 13, in between like a 12 and a half to 13 and a half minute pace. So I was like, if I stay steady and I don't go out too fast, then I won't burn out. And we're going downhill, so I was trying to engage my glutes and my hamstrings versus my quads. And I feel like I did a pretty good job. And we're going down. It's a lot of downhill, switchback, and try not to trip on rocks because there are tons of rocks and roots. And you're just like, your mind is so focused on the step in front of you. I was trying to look up because I was like, I just want to enjoy this moment and being here, but I don't want to trip and fall down the mountain and cascade. And I get into Lethem Hollow, and everybody's cheering for you, and I'm trying not to cry because I get super emotional in these things. And I'm just looking for Jason. I was like, I know Jason's supposed to be here. And he was wearing his Her shirt, and I was like, oh, perfect. There's my person. There's Jason. I was like, just give me my fuel. I see Josie, and I was like, oh, she's not that far ahead of me. And so I was like, I could catch her. So I'm trying to get my fuel, refuel it into my pack just so I could go out again, refill my water. It's like, refill your water, refill your fuel, and just go. That was my plan. So I get going, and we're on a road. And I don't know what it is about dirt roads, but I hate running on dirt roads. It's just miserable. It reminded me of Squaw Peak about the time that I bonked around mile 20, and I was like, why? And so there was a river, and so I went down and dipped my gator in the river and just like put it around my neck just to cool my body temperature because I get so overheated. It was so hot. It was close to 80 degrees, which doesn't seem hot, but it's just hot. And I, in my 40s now, and I just get really hot and overheated. So I was like, I'm just going to keep climbing. And I would run a little bit, walk a little bit, run and walk. And then it like cut up into the woods off of the trail. And I was like, perfect, I can do this. And so from 19 and a half until 28, it cut up. And I think we climbed an extra 2,000 feet. I'm just filling my paper here. We climbed an extra 2,000 feet. And in that time, I caught up to Josie. And she was even telling this guy that she was running with, she was like, my friend's going to catch up to me any minute. And I could see her, and I was like, Josie. And she was like, I knew you were going to catch up to me because I am a power hiker. Like, I can just climb and climb and climb and climb. Like, it is my strong suit. I just get my poles, and I'm just like, I can go. So I catch up to her, and she was like, I think we should just stay together. And I was like, probably a good call. I was like, I know you can outrun me, but I can outclimb you. So let's just stay together and keep a steady pace. And so we get to Upper Richard Hollow at mile 28, refuel. We refill our waters, refuel. I really don't remember that station, to be honest. It's kind of a blur at this moment. But I'm sure we refilled our water and our fuel. And then from 28 to 37, we descented down a ton, like 3,000. We were up at 74.90, and then we went down to 55.51. So we descended a ton, and that was on a road. It was super hot during the day. And I remember they had extra water stations in between there. About before we got to Right Hand Fork, there was an extra water station, which was great because I was almost out of water. And so we got into Right Hand Fork, and you had to like, it was really pretty. We ran down, and we kept like a pretty steady pace, like maybe 13-minute miles. And we were just running down and just keeping steady through this pace. We got into Right Hand Fork. I was supposed to meet Jason there. We got there early, and he wasn't there. And so I re-lubed my feet up. I didn't have a drop bag there because Jason had it. And so I had enough fuel that I was fine. And the next aid station was at mile 45. So we refueled and we just left. And I saw a friend of mine, John, and I was like, if you see Jason, tell him I already left. But I figured Jason would maybe ask the ham radio people or the station, and he would figure it out that I wasn't there. So we took off and headed to mile 45. And from there, it stayed pretty steady. We didn't have a ton of elevation, maybe like 300 feet of elevation gain there. And we made our way to Temple Fork at mile 45. Views were pretty, like it was around 4:30 around that time. And it was just really hot, but it was super pretty. The sun was kind of setting. We get into mile 45 after running on this long, dreadful road that was super dusty with trucks and cars, and you're just like, why? And so we get into mile 45, and it was after 7 p.m. And by then, Jason had to have a parking pass for Right Hand Fork or Temple Fork at mile 37 or 45, and I picked 37, but we had missed him. And so after 7 p.m., people could come to mile 45, and so it was after 7 p.m., so he was able to meet us there. And it was such a relief to see him. And he was like, you guys need to eat. And I was like, I don't want to eat anything. I'm just sticking to my goos and my gels. We refilled our water, grabbed more fuel, and then we were off again. And I failed to even think about that it was going to get dark. I don't know why. It didn't cross my mind. You just like, you're thinking of all these things before you get to the aid station, and then you get to the aid station, and your just mind just goes blank. And so we are leaving mile 45, and I was like, okay, I love you, peace. And we head up the mountain, and then it starts to get really dark. And luckily, Josie had 2 little headlamps. And so I wore one, she wore another one. There was tons of cows on the trail. At some point, there was a horse on the trail trying to keep cows off the trail. And I was kind of in lead in the front. And there was an angry cow, like a really angry cow. And I was like, is this cow going to charge us at some point? And Josie's like, your face looks petrified. And I was like, I'm kind of scared. I'll be honest. I'm a little scared of cows and dark. And we don't have a really bright light. The sun is coming down. Like, it was just from 45 to 51, I questioned my whole existence in this race. And I was like, why are we doing this? Like, it was just a steady climb. We went from 5,800 feet up to 7,980. So we gained a couple thousand of feet of elevation right there just in that short amount of time. And it rocked my world. Like, literally rocked my world. And right, had to get a new battery. All right, so from 45 to 51, I struggled mentally. It was a really tough climb and then a tough descent. And then they had these signs up that was like, you're a half mile away, you're a quarter mile away, you're almost there. You could hear the people screaming, you could hear all the music. You just couldn't get there. It just took forever to get there. And I was already pretty emotional. So I get into Tony Grove at mile 51, and we like come down the mountain, and I could hear the kids and Jason, and they were screaming, and I just ran into Jason's arms, and I just lost it, like ugly cry lost. Like, I was just so emotional. I was just like, I just like fell into his chest, and I was like, this is so hard. I was like, why am I doing this? This is so hard. And so we kind of just had to reset, and we knew we were going in through the night. We were picking up my pacer, Chad, and I knew it was going to be a long night. We haven't slept for hours. Here it is, probably after like 8 or 9. I don't even know what time I got into. Well, it was probably way past that, like 10:30, 11. It was late. It was super late. So we changed our entire outfit so it wasn't like sweaty or gross, that we were freshly changed. I changed my socks. I didn't remove my bandage. I just re-looped my feet. I tried to put on a new pair of shoes, and my feet were so swollen that I was like, just give me my old shoes. So I like stuck my feet in them. I tried to have some chicken ramen with broth, and so I tried to eat the broth. Josie tried to eat some rice, and we were just freezing, like shivering cold. And I was able to like go to the bathroom and just relieve all the stuff. I was like, refill my fuel, refill my water, and let's just go. And so we headed out, and that was at mile 51 at Tony's Grove, and the next aid station was 10 miles away at 61 at Franklin Basin. And so we headed out, and it was a we declined. We descended from 79.80 down to 61 or 67.17. So we went down 6,000, or not 6,000, but we went down a couple thousand feet. And it was just like it was an awful descent. Like there was huge boulders and you're trying to like pay attention and you're tired, you're delirious, your depth perception is super off. At least mine was. It's like I'd step down and I was like, oh, that wasn't as far as I thought. And I wasn't trying to like hallucinate. I was like trying to stay focused on the trail and just stay focused on the task. We got into Franklin Basin. I don't even know what time in the morning. It was probably 2 or 3, maybe. It might have been later. It might have been later. Maybe it wasn't. I don't even know what time it was. At this point, I had no phone. I did have my little DJI camera, but my phone, I gave it to Jason because it was dead, and I was like, whatever, I just don't even care. The stars were beautiful at night, I'll tell you that. Nighttime was just hard. It was really hard. And Chad was great, keeping us on task, and it felt nice to have somebody else on the trail who was like fresh-legged, fresh memory, fresh mind, who could keep us sane and knowing where we were going. And the trail, I will say, is remarkably marked. Like, they did a really good job of like, this is a critical junction. Don't go left. Go this way. Like, it was really marked really, really well, which is fantastic. As a runner, I appreciate that because I didn't put the maps on my phone. And we got into Franklin Basin and there was a fire and that was super warm. I had some broth and tried to have a few more gels and goos, refilled my water, and we just sat there and I was just like stone cold, just like, I don't want to move away from this fire. And Josie's like, we gotta go. And I was like, I don't want to move from this fire. And so we packed up and left again. And going from moving to sitting to moving again is just, it's hard. It's really, really hard. Your body locks up. You're just tired. You're stiff. It's cold. And after we left Franklin Basin at 61, we knew we had 8 more miles to go until Logan River. We had some river crossings in there, which is a little sketchy at night when you're trying to like focus on the trail and not focus on falling into the water. Why does it keep doing that? Ugh, it keeps doing something. Anyway, so we had to climb again, so we went up about 1,000 or so feet to get to Logan River, and it felt like it took forever to get there. We were on a road. The road was like rutted and like divoted and just had like those big crevices in it, I guess you would say. And so it was just kind of a pain. And so we got to Logan River, mile 69, and I was freezing cold. I was miserable. It was cold, and I just wanted to be done. And I sat down, had some more broth, and I don't think I ate anything else. I only had broth in the aid stations. I refilled my water. I did have some ginger ale because my stomach wasn't feeling super great. And this whole time during this race, I prayed every mile. I swear I prayed. I was just like, I knew my feet hurt from like mile 21 on. I could feel the blisters. And I was just like, I can deal with blisters. But I was like, Heavenly Father, just make sure my stomach doesn't hurt, because if I start barfing, it's game over. I was like, I can deal. It's like I was bargaining with him, almost like pleading. I was just like, I can deal with my feet hurting and my knee hurting, but please just let my stomach to be nice and settled and just be okay. And so I tried to stick with my gels as much as I possibly could, which I feel like I did a pretty good job. And at this point at Logan River, Josie was like, I'm done. I'm checked out. And I was like, can you go 6 more miles? And she was like, oh, yeah, I can do 6 more miles. And I was like, okay, we're going to go. And so we left Logan River to head to Beaver Mountain, and it was at mile 75. And we just had 6 miles, and we had to cross this river, which was a sketchy little log. And I was like, it wasn't deep enough to like protect you. It was like shallow enough to hurt you. And so I was like, I can't fall into this river. I'll freeze to death and I'll get severely hurt. So it was like crossing this log. And we got to the other side, and Josie was like, just go. And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, just go. She's like, I don't feel well. Just go. I'll see if I can make it. And so I took off. And then I'm calculating with Chad. I was like, Chad, what time, as of right now, what time does that put us coming in at? And he was like, 7:30. And I was like, 7:30? 7:30 p.m.? I was like, the cutoff is 6 p.m. I was like, I somehow have to cut off an hour and a half of my time to be able to make it. And so we just booked it. And so we started running, and then on the uphill, this one had, it was about level on this one. It wasn't like any descent or climb. It was just kind of a level. And so we ran, I would say we ran majority of those 6 miles. And then Chad was like, okay, we've made up 15 minutes. We've made up 20 minutes. We've made up 30 minutes. We've made up 40 minutes. He's like, I think you can slow down. And I was like, no, we're not slowing down. And so we came out of the forest, we're onto the road, and then we had to go up into Beaver Mountain where the ski lodge is. And I knew I was meeting Casey there, and so I was like, let's just go. And so we get into Beaver Mountain, and I see Casey, and I was like, are you ready? I was like, are you ready to go? I was like, we've got to go right now. And like I was trying to be amped up and excited, even though I'm like super excited. I was like, I only have 25 miles left. I was like, I only have a fourth of this freaking race to go. I can do this. So Casey's like amped. I drop off Chad. Oddly enough, Jason was there somehow by a miracle. I'm like handing him stuff. I was like, take this out, take this out, take this out. Give me more food. I should have grabbed more fuel. I didn't. Refilled my water. Casey downed a Rockstar. I drowned a pre-workout, and we just took off. And Casey is like, blah, 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 like telling me about his whole day and his week, which was fantastic. And I think we ran for like a couple miles, and then finally I was like, can we stop? I'm really tired. So he's like, oh yeah, let's stop. Or like, let's walk. We're not stopping. We're just walking. So we determined we're like, let's walk the uphills, and then on the levels, and then on the downs, we'll run. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And he's like a pro pacer. Like he's paced James all the time. He's a wingman for the Iron Cowboy. Like he just knows what to do. And he was in front of me. He's like, I'm going to set a timer. You're going to eat every 30 minutes. And then when I run, you're running. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And I knew it was going to be a hard push to the end, but I just didn't understand the extent of how hard it was going to be. So we left Beaver Mountain, and I knew we only had 5 miles to go to Gibson Basin. I don't remember those 5 miles at all. If I'm being completely honest, I don't remember them. I don't remember getting into the aid station at all, but I remember getting in and being like, 80 miles. I have 20 miles to go. I can do this. And I think at that moment, I was like, I can do this. I have 20 miles. And I was like, how are we on time? And he was like, we're fine on time. Don't worry about it. I'll get us there. And I was like, okay. So we get into Gibson Basin, refilled my water. I may have had nope, I didn't have a drop bag there. And so I already had food, and I was trying to eat a little bit. I do remember that when I was super dizzy, and they were like, what do you need? And I was like, I don't know, I just feel really dizzy. And Casey's like, well, let's just go. And I was like, okay. So we just took off, and he's done this course before, so he knew there was a lot of like long road sections in the sun. And I was like, why are we running on a road? And so you'd run for like a mile, and then you'd cut up into the woods. And so after mile 80, we cut up into the woods. And I think from Beaver Mountain to Gibson, we gain about 1,000 feet of elevation. And then from Gibson down to Beaver Creek Campground, we go down not quite 1,000, but pretty dang close. And so it was a lot of downhill. I think we ran 80.5 until 84.7. We ran that whole 4 miles. We're like pretty close. Like on the uphills, we would walk, but on the levels and the down, we just run. We got into Beaver Creek Campground. I don't remember. I think I did have a drop bag there, but I don't think I grabbed anything. I tried to eat a few little like pretzel bites. I went to the bathroom, refilled my water, and then we were off. And I was like, okay, if we can just make it to the next aid station, I can do this. I think I can do this. And so we left Beaver Creek Campground. My feet were killing me. I had like this weird like on front of my tibialis anterior where your tendon is, like my shoe would hit it and it would like paralyze me. And that started happening at night around mile 60 on my left foot. And then it started happening on my right foot. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but it's just ridiculous and annoying. And I was like, whatever. I could feel the blisters like popping, and like you can just feel stuff as you're hitting it, and rocks, and like you're jamming your toes against rocks and like hitting them. And so we left Beaver Creek at mile 84.7. I don't really remember that. We did climb about 1,000 feet up, almost 1,000 feet up. It was a lot of climbing. And we got into Ranger Dip. And Casey was like, "This is your last aid station. The next one is the finish line." And I was like, "Okay, I can do this. I can do this." But we got into Ranger Dip at 91.8 miles. My stomach was killing me, and I was like, I just don't know. Like, my stomach was hungry, but I was like, I don't want to eat any more gels. Like, I almost had, like, thrown up a gel, and I was like, just got to keep it down. Just got to keep it down. So I grabbed some ginger ale and a ginger chew, which was a bad idea because it was, like, sticking to my teeth, and it was so gross. So I spit that out, and Casey was like, Ryan gave me some trail mix, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll take some almonds. So I just put the almonds in and was, like, sucking on them, chewing on them, like, trying to, like, almonds are just messy, but it saved my life. The almond mix saved my life. And I didn't want to gel, and so as soon as you leave Ranger Dip, you have a heck of a climb out. Like, heck of a climb. And I was like, are you kidding me? It was like, I think it was like 3,100 feet that we were climbing. And it was insane. Casey was like, don't look up, just look down and just stay steady. He's like, just keep climbing, just dig deep, just climb. And I was like, okay. And I did make the mistake of looking up, and I was like, oh my gosh, do you need to go? Can you have Preston take it? Okay. Family life. Brendan's got to go dance. So we get up this mountain of a climb, and it's forever long. I'm trying not to vomit my guts out, and I'm just like pleading. I'm like, just keep my stomach settled. I only have 9 more miles. Just 9 more miles. I can do it. 9 more miles. And so I get the almonds down. We get on the very top, and then Casey's like, we've made it to the top. He was like, I'm going to turn on music, and we're going to go. And I was like, okay, I can do this. So he turns on some music, and we just get going. And he's in front of me. He has a steady pace. For him, it's probably a walking pace. For me, it was like we were sprinting to my death. And we just go, and we're passing people left and right, and like, well, usually on the left. Like, Casey's very trail friendly, and like, it was awesome. And I think that last bit we passed like 80 people, which is freaking phenomenal. That at mile 91, I was running. Like, not a fast run, but I was running. My watch had already died. I didn't know what my heart rate was. I didn't know what my pace was. I was like, we just got to get to the end. And at one point, you could see Bear Lake, and it was just blue as blue. And the mountains were yellow, and it was beautiful. And Casey was like, the lake is right there, and we just have to get down. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And so he kept looking back at me, and he was just smiling. And he was like, you're doing it. And I was like, I'm gonna freaking do it. And it was like a hard descent because there's like rocks everywhere. And he was so great. Like, he was like, there's rocks coming up, there's roots, like, beware. And he's like, I'm not trying to sound condescending. He's like, I'm just trying to let you know, like, be aware of what's ahead of you, which was great because your mind is so fatigued. You're so tired. You're just exhausted, and you're like just trying to like concentrate on what you're stepping on. Goodness. And I was like trying to hold back my emotion, and he was like, what's your emotion gonna be? And I was like, I don't even know. I was like, I want to cry, but I don't have anything to cry. He's like, well, you need to hydrate, take your last gel. So I took my last gel, and he's like, do you want any more food? And I was like, I don't want any more food. And we're like going down, and it's just like this winding like down trail on this dirt forever and ever. And then we had to cross a cattle guard, which was like mind-blowingly challenging. to go across. You're just like stepping her down. You're like, how am I supposed to step down across this cattle guard and not get my ankle messed up or locked up or anything? And so right when we got there, the kids were there, Jason was there, our friend Sinjin and his daughter Camilla were there, Josie was there, Chad was there. Like, everybody that had supported me was there. And I was like, don't cry, just be excited. The kids were there, they're yelling, and it was like, how is she running? And I was like, I don't even know how I'm running at this point. And I knew I just had to stay focused on that. It was pavement road from there on out, and I think it was like 4.5 miles, and I was like, oh. So we start going, and we're passing people. The kids are like driving by and filming, and it was awesome. Casey had his music on. I was like, just get to the end, just get to the end. And then I was like, Casey, how much time, or how far do we have left? And he's 1.5 miles. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I was like, I still have 1.5 miles left. And he was like, you're freaking out over 1.5 miles. And I was like, I'm so tired. And we just started sprinting. I think at one point I was like, how fast are we running? And he was like, about, I think we were like at a 10:40 pace, and then we knocked down to like a 9:30 pace, and then I pushed back. So I was like, I don't know if I can maintain that speed the last 1.5 miles. Somehow I think we did. I don't even know because I didn't have a watch. You're on the pavement road, you turn down Highway 89 or whatever highway that is, and you're just running down, and you can see where you have to cross. And I was like, I just have to get there. I just have to get across the street. And so we crossed the road. The kids are like trying to park the car and like run and sprint to the end of the finish line. I'm running and sprinting, so I'm trying to keep up with Casey, and I was like, I just want this race to be over. And you get through the little tunnel thing, and like people are cheering for you. It's super emotional. Because I'd visualized that finish line since 2023. And then this whole year, I was like, if I can just get to the finish line. And at one point, I didn't think I was going to finish because I didn't think I was going to make the cutoff. And I was like, that's unacceptable. I cannot not make that finish line. Like, I have to get there. I'm not doing this race again. And so pushing myself that last 30 miles was so hard. And so being able to see it, it was right there. And just be excited, but so overcome with emotion of like, I did that. We did that. It was really cool. And I crossed that line and I was like, I did it. I did it. And then I just started crying. Because it was so hard. I'd never done anything that challenging. And I crossed the finish line at 33 hours and 45 minutes. And all my family was there, and it was just a surreal moment. I was like, just give me my medal, just give me my belt buckle, that's all I want. And just wanted to celebrate with my family and my friends and everybody that was there to support me, which meant the world to me to have so many people come out and support me and help me and just get me to that finish line with Casey and Chad. It was like they were there for specific reasons, and they helped me in each different way, and it was incredible. And Jason was awesome with his crewing. He's never done that before, and he rocked it. He was like, you guys aren't eating enough food, and he was like trying to get us to eat, and we were like, no, we're fine. And he was like, you need to be eating your food. And so he was trying to keep on track of all of us, and he was doing awesome. And there's no cell service up there, and he was coordinating it all and picking up people left and right and just picking up all the pieces. And it was so awesome to just visualize that finish line and then cross the finish line and just complete the goal. Complete the goal, the task at hand. And you had a cutoff time of 36 hours. I hit it at 33:45, so I had a little bit of time. My main goal was under 30 hours. That was my top A goal. My B goal was 32. And then my C goal was like, just complete the race. Like, once I got going in this race, I was like, I think my only goal is just to complete this race. I was like, I don't think I can put a time frame on it. And to not know if I was going to complete it, but I was like, in my mind, I couldn't shut that idea down and say, I'm quitting. That wasn't an option, and my team knew that wasn't an option, and I was like, whatever it takes. My feet were blistered. They hurt so very bad. My knee was swollen, but I was like pleading with Heavenly Father. I was like, if my stomach feels good, it was like, I can deal with the rest of the pain. Like, that is fine. I can shut that out, and I can get to the finish line. And we did it. we did the goal. And now I have a cool belt buckle. I never want to do that race again. It was so hard. It was beautiful. There were so many tender moments in it. And I think just breaking it down from aid station to aid station versus that whole big goal, you can't focus on that big goal, and just focusing on the little steps at hand and just like one foot in front of the other. It was just like, just take the next step. Don't stop moving. Just keep moving. And I saw lots of little miracles, which were great, and a reminder that you can do hard things. And Caitlin ran in, I think, a little bit with me. I don't know. The end of it was such a blur. I know she wanted to run in with me, and I think she ran on the outside of the line. But I know she wants to do a race with me, so we're signed up to do the Halloween Haunted Half. It's just a 13.1 mile run, half marathon. And then Connor asked me last night, he was like, how long is that race? And I was like, it's 13 miles. And he was like, oh, I think that's too far. And I was like, what if we do a 5K that's only 3 miles? He's like, yeah, I think I can do that. And so I think I'm going to sign him up for a race in November for a 5K. So it's like, if I can impact my kids positively and show them that I was struggling, they clearly saw it at mile 51 when I just lost it, and seeing my feet and how bad it hurt to sit down, but I can get up and I can rise up and I can fight hard to the end. That they can too, and they can do really hard things. I had a lot of people praying for me, and it was really cool to see my community and friends and family come together and say, I'm praying for you. And I don't receive any hate, which is great. And it's all been super positive, which I love, which I think we need so much right now, is an outpouring of positivity and just love and just encouragement. And everybody on the truck community is amazing. And anytime we'd pass anybody, I'm like, you're doing great. And they would say it to me if they were passing me. And it was just, it's just a great community to be a part of. That I would challenge you, if you are wanting to do something, just do it. The time is going to pass regardless. So just do it. Just do the dang thing. Because tomorrow is never guaranteed. Ever. And I found that out after my mom passed away. It was like, I talked to her on Monday. Tuesday, she was gone. So you never know who you're impacting. You never know what tomorrow brings. So just live so fiercely and so present in today and in the now that you don't have to worry about tomorrow. Just focus on today. Focus on the task at hand. And just do it. Just do it. Yeah, I have a lot to unpack and unravel and journal about. But that was kind of a race recap. Maybe just for myself, maybe for you. I know a lot of you have wanted it. It was really hard and really incredible all at the same time. And I don't want to do it again. I think I'll stick to shorter distances. But anyway, I am so grateful for your love, your support. If this is something that you want to share with somebody, go for it. You can subscribe to my YouTube. You can subscribe to all of my socials. And I try and keep it real, authentic, and be myself. And that's kind of what you see is what you get. Nothing fabulous over here. I'm a mom just trying to inspire people in their 40s to try and build confidence and find their purpose. Because as a mom, I know I'm also an individual, and so I still want dreams and aspiration and goals. And that's, yeah, I have big dreams and big goals. And yeah. At this point, I'm like, whatever God wants me to do, use me, and I will be whatever thy will. I am here, and I will do it. So, thank you for watching this. And if you liked it, you can comment, share it with your friends, and I hope you guys have an amazing day and go spread some positivity and light and love and kindness, because you never know what people are going through, and so just be a kind human. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know the hardships that they're facing. So just be kind, be gentle, and just love one another. Be a peacemaker. I'm sure I will. I told my kids I was never doing this again. Well, like you said that last time. I'm serious this time.
Easy come and easy go. You're an unfading star, a gentle love, the kind that lifts you up, no matter how far apart. I guess you could call it chance, but we know it's more than that.
This is really pretty.
It's like we've always known, been set in stone, unbreakable. It's like I've always dreamed, true harmony, unmistakable, unmistakable.
Vegas 150 mark.
Through each night we'll keep burning bright. I'm so
Right now.
lucky to be loved by you. And come the storms, whether short or long, well, I'll still be right where you are. I guess you could call it chance, but we know it's more than that. It's like we've always known, been set in stone, unbreakable. It's like I've always dreamed, true harmony, unmistakable, unmistakable. Unmistakable.
One more.
I like that nervous look on your face when you're starting to think that you're talking too much. I like how we just met, and I'm not even slightly afraid to be opening up. I like that we've been sitting here, hands moving around the clock, and I still can't get enough. No, I can't get enough. You look in my eyes and I already hope this lasts. Trying hard not to jump, not to move too fast. But we could go all in. We could be in love by the end of the night. Sitting here talking, kissing your lips and I'm coming alive. Or we could start running, make a list of ways that the time just isn't right. Or we could go all in. Yeah, we could be in love by the end of the night. By the end of the night. I like the way you're holding me close, arms wrapped around my waist like you've done it all your life. I like the way it feels to have you running lap after lap all over my mind. Yeah, if the world ended today and I was sat right here by your side, that'd be alright. Yeah, that'd be alright.
As I've dissipated, which I was a little sad about.
You look in my eyes and I already hope this lasts.
Yeah.
Trying hard not to jump, not to move too
Oh my, we're at
fast. But we
70
could
something.
go all in. We could be in love by the end of the night. Sitting here talking, kissing your lips and I'm coming alive. Or we can start
rough night.
running, make a list of ways that the time just isn't right. Or we could go all in. Yeah, we could be in love by the end of the night. By the end of the night.
Suck.
I like that nervous
Saturday
look on
morning.
your face when you're starting to think that you're talking too much. I like how we just met, and I'm not even slightly
supposed to follow
afraid
you?
to be opening up. I
know we
like
have to
that
be-
we've been
does that mean we have to
sitting
run?
here, hands moving around the clock, and I still can't get
Wait.
enough.
Don't leave.
No, I can't get enough. But we could go all in. Be in love by the end of the night. Sitting here talking, kissing your lips and I'm coming alive.
Running.
Or we can start running, make a list of ways that the time just isn't right. Or we could go all in.
All I got was a sheet.
Yeah, we could be in love by the end of the night. By the end of the night.
Stop.
Or we could go all in. Yeah, we could be in love by the end of the night. By the end of the night.
So close. Take that.
White box over there far away.
The light is fading fast from this old town, we gotta go. Our bags are packed, so what were you waiting for? There's no point in delaying what we both already know. Escape this time with me. Escape this time with me. We could rent a room and watch the stars dance round the moon. Fall asleep to the sounds of the sea. With you right by my side, it's such a sweet
Let's go.
life. Escape this time with me. Escape this time with me.
Made it.
Nowhere else to be.
guys.
this time with me.
Because I'm awkward.
Escape this time with me.
What do you have?
The Phoenix
7S.
7X.
Do you know when you call love, when to become one? And I felt like a boom in your arms, I call home. Do you know when you call love, when
That's so
to
pretty.
become one? And I felt like a boom in your arms, I call home. It feels like paradise when your hands are in mine. It feels like paradise when I drown into your eyes. Like it feels like paradise when your hands are in mine. It feels like paradise when I drown into your eyes. Like a paradise. Do you know when you call love, when to become one? And I felt like a boom in your arms, I call home. Do you know when you call love, when to become one? And I felt like a boom in your arms, I call home. It feels like paradise when your hands are in mine. It feels like paradise when I drown into your eyes. Like it feels like paradise when your hands are in mine. It feels like paradise when I drown into your eyes. Like a paradise.
That's that. Yeah, you can't see it. We're climbing a freaking mountain.
Maybe once we get to the top,
It never does it justice. I'm like, look how high this mountain is.
I know, right?
They're like, sure, you're climbing a mountain. I'm like, no, I'm legit climbing a mountain.
2,500 feet.
So thick up here. Just keeps going. I thought we'd go that way.